my trip to Costa Rica. I went to Costa Rica, San Jose, Costa Rica, which is a very, very large city in Costa Rica. There are over 2 million people in San Jose, Costa Rica. It's very crowded, very crowded. It's about in the middle of the country of Costa Rica. A lot of rainforest in the area. It's really a beautiful place, by the way. And I spent 3 months there. And when I first got there, it was just before New Year's Eve, like a day or two before New Year's Eve. And I was there on a job interview, and the guy that owned the business I was going to work for, he had a big, beautiful house up on a mountain. And for New Year's Eve, he wanted to have a bunch of people over to his house. So he asked me to come, and I went. He had about 20 people or so at his house. And on New Year's Eve, this is a fireworks display that you can't even imagine. I've seen a lot of big fireworks displays, but this just blew my mind. When I was at this house of this guy, you could walk around the house and look in any direction, and there's just fireworks going off. And this was all night long. It started, you know, just about dark. All of a sudden, people were shooting up fireworks. There's over 2 million people there. They're all shooting off fireworks. And when it got down to midnight, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the entire sky in every direction absolutely exploded with fireworks. I mean, you just could not imagine how big this was. And so I got to watch all this, and we had a good night, played a little bit of pool, drank a lot, and then I started working for this guy, and I had weekends off. So one weekend I wanted to go on a zip line. What a zip line is you go up in the rainforest, just nothing but forest, rainforest, very, very thick. And they run these cable lines through the trees at about 100 feet off the ground. And what you do is you get on a stand, and they hook you up to this cable. And then you take off, and you just shoot through the tops of the trees. It's absolutely wonderful. You see all these animals, all these monkeys and sloths and big giant, oh, it's like a big lizard. What's it called? Anyway, you see all these creatures in the forest, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I went on this thing, and actually what it was 13 different cables. You would go from one cable to another cable, and when you would get there, you would be in a tree stand 100 feet off the ground, and you would land on this stand, wooden stand, and then they would hook you up to another cable, and you shoot off in that cable, and you go, you know, a couple hundred yards, and you come to another stand, and then you stop there. And these guys that were doing this with us, there was about 8 of us on this tour, and we had 4 guys that was with us, guys that do this for a living, and they made us feel so safe. I was not afraid at one time. Even being 100 feet off the ground, I didn't care. It was just a lot of fun, and I was never afraid because these guys were so good at keeping us safe, and we all felt real good about it. Nobody was afraid. We had a wonderful, wonderful time. And then about a week later, I did what was called a 3-in-1 rainforest tour, and I signed up for that. I paid $100 to go on this tour. It was all day long. It was like 10 hours, and what they did is they picked me up in a van in San Jose, and they drove probably over 2 hours up into the mountains, and there's nothing up there but rainforest, absolute thick rainforest. And we all, there was about 10 or 12 of us in this van. We were all going on the same thing. And they get into the rainforest, and they go to a river. And now they got a boat there, and they want all of us to get on this boat. This is the first part of the 3-in-1 tour. The first part is a river ride. So we all get in this boat, and we go up and down the river, and we see big iguanas. That's the lizard I'm talking about. We've seen this giant iguana. It had to be 7 feet long from the tip of his nose to the tip of his tail. And the guy that was with us was like a tour guide. He was talking to us all the time and telling us things. And he says, see the big iguana? And it was just up on a big tree limb. you know, just hanging out. And he says, "You see that?" And we all said, "Yeah, we see it." He goes, "Well, those, we used to eat those. They are absolutely delicious. But a couple of years ago, the government of Costa Rica said stop killing these things because, you know, there's not very many left or whatever. So they had to quit killing them and eating them." But he said they used to eat them all the time. And then we went up and down this river for about an hour, and it was a pretty nice ride. Seen all kinds of, seen some big monkeys and all kinds of stuff. And then we go back to shore, and we take a walk. We walk for about an hour, just into the rainforest. There was like a trail that we were walking on, and it was raining all day long. That's why they call it the rainforest. And I had to put a poncho on just to try to keep dry. And we started walking on this trail. And this trail, I don't know how far we walked, but we walked for a good hour, you know. And then we finally get back, and we go into this big restaurant, and we have lunch. And it's a pretty nice restaurant right there in the rainforest, big place. And we all go in there and we have a nice lunch. And then we leave there and we go to this place up on the side of the mountain. And they got what's like, sort of like a ski lift. And it just goes up through the mountain, right through the trees. I mean, right through the rainforest. You got trees that you can reach out and grab from this ski lift you're on. And it just goes right up through the mountain, through these trees. Absolutely beautiful. And when you look down at the ground, you can see how thick this forest is. There's no way in the world a person could walk anywhere down there because it is just so thick. You couldn't even get through it. And that was a pretty nice time. And that was a good long day. And I really did enjoy that. And that was my Costa Rica trip.